dirt. All right, we got another great guest for you now. Leopold is back on the show. He's the author of The Looting of America, How Wall Street's Game of Fantasy Finance Destroyed Our Jobs, Pensions, and Prosperity, and What We Can Do About It. He's also written the blog, Obama's No FDR, We're No Mass Movement. Les, welcome back.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
It's great to have you here. So, first of all, heavy words against Obama. You're telling me that he's not as tough as FDR and not getting the job done? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, I was really trying to not just point the finger at Obama, but to have the rest of us look in a mirror and say, hey, he's not living up to that kind of expectation, but neither are we.
Well, Les, that's where we're going to have an interesting conversation, because I'm not entirely sure I agree with you there. Because what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to spill into the streets? I mean, yeah, great. I'm ready to do it. We've tried to do it. And people don't come out very much. So,
well, I'm asking the question of why it is that the key... Look at it this way. There must be how many people right now working in progressive organizations, nonprofits all over the country, young activists, old activists, middling activists, 10,000 maybe? 15,000? We're all engaged in our own little activities, and we haven't realized yet that our own little activities are going nowhere. Because we didn't build...
No, I realize that.
What?
No, I realize that.
Yeah, and because we didn't build a populist response, the Tea Party emerged and has successfully gridlocked the Congress, and we're not going to get anything that we want passed. Goodbye global warming, goodbye health care reform, and we're going to get the most watered-down financial reform. And I think what happened...
Les, how do you do it? Let me tell you why. Because, so as I read your article, and I was thinking about it, so why were the teabag guys so successful in at least gathering the media attention, doing the protests, getting people to show up, etc.? Because they had organized money behind it. Now, those guys think that they're actually against the bank bailouts, etc., but they've never done a protest against the bank bailouts because the moneyed interests are not interested in those protests. They're interested in killing healthcare reform so that health insurance companies can make more money. So they pour money and organization into it. Now, we don't have the rich companies ready to organize our side. So how are we supposed to organize as well as they do for those specific issues? Without money, it's hard.
Well, look, I can't deny all those points, but I think the Tea Party movement is actually quite a bit broader and quite a bit deeper than just a concoction of Fox News and money. I think it actually expresses a kind of outrage. In some ways, the Tea Party people sensed that something very new and different has happened to our economy, and I think many progressives haven't yet caught up with that. I'm making the argument that our economic system went through a transformation in the last 30 years and that we've become something new. We're not your pluralistic, democratic capitalist society anymore. We're what I call the billionaire bailout society. We've set up a system now where finance is so large, 35% of corporate profits, that it can gamble, then it can lose, and then we have to bail them out to the tune of something like right now, still $10 trillion of government backing and loans and guarantees for their toxic assets. Now, I think the average Tea Party person senses that something really profoundly has gone wrong. I'm not sure that the average progressive senses that yet. I think in a way we're still thinking, well, you know what, this is kind of a blip in the normal ups and downs of our system, and we're going to get back to normal. I can go back to my issue.
But Les, that leads us back to our leaders, okay?
Pardon?
But that leads us back to our leaders because our leaders tell us, it's okay, calm down, everything's going to be fine, the establishment is awesome, and there's nothing to worry about here, and you don't have to get upset. Okay, I put Geithner and Bernanke back in charge, and they're just going to fix this thing. They saved the world.
I hear you.
So
if you're telling me that the Tea Party people are smarter than progressives because they don't buy it and the progressives do buy it?
No, Les, their leaders are smarter because their leaders say the opposite, okay, while doing the reverse. So the Glenn Becks of the world come out and go, the world's on fire, the world's on fire. I know that you feel anger. Now come and let me direct that anger in order to protect corporations. So, I mean, it is entirely duplicitous. Well, and it is awful, but it's smart.
I'm not defending the Tea Party in terms of its contradictory philosophies and goals. As a matter of fact, I've written several blogs that have said just that. That says that that they're a phony economic populist movement. They're in fact just doing the bidding of the anti-government, anti-tax conservatives. As a matter of fact, they're Wall Street's best friend.
No, that's absolutely true, but you see that their leaders funnel that anger in such a better way for their own purposes, and our leaders they never even make the case. I mean, who's out there making the case that the wealthy got too many tax cuts, that Reagan was a disaster, right?
You're making the case.
I know I am, right? But we're fighting a lonely battle out here.
No, you're not. I've been on 50 radio stations where there have been moderators who have said almost exactly what you just said. Now, the problem is we don't have an infrastructure that's weaving this together. In the 1930s, basically the resurgent labor movement provided the infrastructure that allowed us to have mass upheaval, as it were. Today, unions are struggling. They haven't provided the infrastructure, and the nonprofit progressive movement hasn't yet realized that this is a big deal. That this ain't going away. We're going to have chronic unemployment, I think, for at least a decade, if not more. Matter of fact, I think Wall Street has now separated itself from needing the rest of the economy. It can now. It made record profits and bonuses this year, a record bonus year during the worst year since the Great Depression. What does that tell you? That tells you they don't need to loan money to the real economy. They don't care anymore what happens to the rest of us in the billionaire bailout society.
Here's the other part of the genius strategy. And we're talking to Les Leopold. He's the author of The Looting of America, and he just wrote Obama's No FDR and We're No Mass Movement. Les, we're like frogs in a slowly boiling water. It's not like they're sending us to Vietnam, and if we don't protest, we're going to die, right? It's not like the civil rights movement where people had no rights and they're getting beat over the head and they can't go into certain restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. Instead, people are slowly losing their jobs. Slowly, their income is going down, and they see that the bankers have all the money, but they can't quite put together how that happened, and none of their leaders ever make the case, the political leaders ever make that case. In fact, they make the Republican case and apologize for their positions. So how do you mobilize those guys who don't know what's going on, who are in this slowly boiling water, into actually getting out there and making a difference in the streets, civil disobedience, whatever it might be?
Okay, well, look your leadership question, I think, is very accurate. But it's not the average person who doesn't have the desire to respond. There are a lot of average people that are responding to the Tea Party because it's the only expression of populist outrage out there. What I'm arguing for is saying, look, this was a moment, especially about a year ago, but this was the moment when progressives could have made their case to the American public. Now, I think you're right to say that what happened was that most progressives really put their faith in the Democratic leadership and in President Obama. As opposed to becoming a force that pushed them, they tried to play the inside game. As a matter of fact, I think that's the ultimate problem. I think that over the last generation, kind of progressive leadership, large and small, have decided to play the inside game. That they want to have, they want to meet, they want to have influence. They're talking. These people are good people. They're not, Obama's a good guy, not a bad guy. Barney Frank, you want to talk to them, you want to move them along. Meanwhile, we didn't relate to this populist outrage where people were losing their jobs, and it may be a frog in the boiling water, but you know what? They were in the boiling water, and they were upset by what was happening, and we, meaning the progressive community, could not figure out how to find a way to provide leadership and organization to that populist upsurge. And we're going to pay for that. We're going to pay big time for that for a long time to come. It's not too late. That's the other thing I want to say. It's not too late. I heard today that various, some MSNBC commentators and the publisher of The Nation and others were thinking about calling for some mass demonstrations. So, I don't think it's over.
No, don't get me wrong. I wake up hopeful every day, okay? And I've got my own plans, so you wait for that, Les, and we'll see how that goes.
Oh, hey, I'm ready to follow your lead. I just make noise. That's my job.
All right, fair enough. And the book is called The Looting of America, Les Leopold, thanks so much for being on. We appreciate
Hey, thanks for having me. Keep it up.
Thank you. All right, we'll be right back.